I'm Keith,
I'm Logan.
and welcome to Hot Zombie Summer, a Resident Evil review and retrospective podcast where we'll be playing through the main games of Capcom's Resident Evil series in release order.
We'll be talking characters, lore, gameplay, thrills, chills, and everything in between.
Yeah, so please join us, and we encourage you to listen along and play along with us as we go on this journey together.
All right. Welcome back to Hot Zombie Summer. We are kicking off our replay of Resident Evil Code Veronica X, which we played on the PlayStation 5, right?
Correct, yeah. Yeah, I played the PS4 version on the PlayStation 5 because
Okay.
that's what you could buy and download.
I think I actually played it on PS4 too because I downloaded it maybe 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years
Okay.
ago, and played
You
it that
had it.
way.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Was this so you had played this game before?
I had, yeah. So I had played it. I think I played through it twice because I remember playing it on the PS2, like the
Okay.
CVX version.
Yeah.
And then at some point, I bought the GameCube version for cheap and just replayed through it again just for funsies. Um, but yeah, no, that
Okay. Yeah. So you had played it
was
originally.
my third time, but it's been like 20 years since I played through it.
Okay, so you played it as a kid
Yeah, as
or
a young man.
as a young man, sorry.
Hmm.
Not a child, not a teenager, but a young man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I was probably a teen. I was probably like, I don't know, 16, 17 when I played it.
Oh,
Something like
okay.
that. Well, I
Okay.
don't know. When was I born? 1988. And it came out. So I got PS2 late. I got PS2 in like 2004. Yeah, so I was in high school when I first
Okay.
played it. And then we
Okay.
played it in college.
So yeah, this is your third time playing through. This is my second time playing through, but I do think playing through it for this podcast kind of helped me understand the game better or think about it a little bit more critically.
Yeah. You're playing through and you're taking notes and you're kind of thinking about why do they do this? Why do they do that? So yeah, it's a different sort of vibe than just kind of playing through it just for fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So I think we're gonna talk for this episode, we're gonna talk a little bit about development. We're gonna get into some nuts and bolts there. As we do, we'll run through the characters of the game, which is a smaller cast of characters than I think the others, and we'll talk a little bit about gameplay in the opening areas of the game.
You
Yeah.
hear all about the Sega Saturn and
Say
how it had a hard time rendering 3D polygonal environments and characters.
yes. It almost sounded like you said polygonal.
Like polygamy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. There's no
yeah.
polygamy in this game,
No,
but there is some other not uh mainstream sort of sexual tendencies, we'll say. I don't know.
that's yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
On multiple fronts. I don't know. There's some daddy daughter vibes with Claire and Chris, which kind of creep me out a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay, like, and
yeah.
I know we talked about their orphans, so Chris had to be kind of like a surrogate dad for Claire. That's why he's so protective of her. But like, yeah, the last scene where they're like in Paris or something. You know what I'm talking about? At the very
Oh,
end.
you mean the
I'm
final
jumping
kind
way
of
ahead,
you're
but there's
like
like a
the
final.
the last
Yeah, the
like
last
end
like
game
image of that
screen.
game you get is like buff Chris like bursting out of his shirt, and Claire is like hanging all over him as they're like walking down a promenade. And it's like, oh, that's weird.
Do you think that's a little bit of an exaggeration? Like maybe a little bit because I mean, is she hanging all over him?
Oh, so you take a picture of her too. She is. Now I see it, she's like more. Like this is too. Okay, no, but she's like looking at him lovingly and like hanging off of him. It it, it
Is this a loving look?
Okay, that actually I attribute that more to the PS2's processing power. But I don't know.
Yeah.
You have a sister. Would you take a picture like that, walking arm to arm down the
No,
street?
we don't walk like that.
No.
No, we don't. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm playing, being contrary. But yeah, this is a bizarre photo.
it's a strange photo.
Also,
Yeah.
Chris is just like, I don't know why his arms are like that. Like he's
Yeah,
just
he's
like
very straight.
they're just
He's
like
very,
walking with
very
your arms
caveman
hanging.
arms. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, he's busting out of his shirt. She's all over him.
Uh,
Non-mainstream sexual practices, right?
yeah.
Because the Saturn is the console for polygamists.
Well, I guess I make the Dreamcast the console for uh sort of incest stepbrother type of play. Maybe. I don't
No
know.
wonder the console didn't do well.
No wonder it did. Well, if it was out now, it'd do great.
Mm,
They're behind their time. Ahead of
that's
their time.
true. That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ahead of their time. So yeah. But
Yeah. But anyway,
they could mark it as the best. Your stepsister has to get the Dreamcast out of the dryer, but you get stuck.
oh,
So
poor.
development for this game, so we kind of talked about for Resident Evil 3, but they had many different Resident Evil games in development at this point. So they announced this game in August of 1998 for Code Veronica, and it was originally going to be released for the Sega Saturn. So Capcom had originally promised a Resident Evil 2 port to Sega for
Right.
the Sega Saturn, but they, at some point in their development, found that they weren't able to do that. Like, just technically, it wasn't going to be feasible. Saturn was not really a console that was designed for complicated 3D environments, so it just wasn't going to happen. And then they began developing an original game for Saturn, and eventually moved to Sega's next gen console, which would be the Dreamcast. So they were developing this, and they were also developing what we covered last time, which would be Resident Evil 3 at the same time, as well as Resident Evil 0 for the N64, moving to the GameCube, and various editions of what would ultimately become Resident Evil 4. So they had a lot of irons in the fire. There was a lot of just interesting political things and development things going on at this time at Capcom with the Resident Evil series.
Yeah, and it's interesting that we're so far removed from Capcom kind of taking a chance on the initial game, and then following up with a sequel, and now it's really kind of branching out to me more like horizontally. There's lots of proverbial coals in the fire in
Yeah.
terms of development. Yeah. But like I mean, this is so strange, right? Because it's like the series follows the kind of rise and fall of multiple Sega consoles at this point, right? Because in March 1998, Sega announced their intent to withdraw the Saturn from the market, right? It was underperforming. It was not as successful as the PlayStation, the OG PlayStation. But they then, a few months later, announced the Dreamcast in May 1998, a 128-bit console in an attempt to kind of get ahead, right? Because the Dreamcast would come out while the Nintendo 64 was still, I think, in probably its prime.
Hmm.
And
And really, the
so,
PlayStation was in its prime at that point too.
right, right. So they
Yeah.
thought if they got a couple year head start, they could win the console wars or at least do better. And so that was a really big deal for Yoshiki Okamoto, who worked on Resident Evil, who was, saw the potential to develop a new Resident Evil game that harnessed the Dreamcast's graphical power. And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
so yeah, Capcom had a lot going on, so they actually outsourced the development of what would become Code Veronica to Next Tech, which was the studio that previously ported the original Resident Evil to the Sega Saturn back in 1997.
Hmm.
And so part of me wonders, just this is like maybe my own thinking, but if this studio developed Resident Evil that had not really worked on original mainline series, if that's why the game feels so different.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Well, because 3 was also kind of like a side team. Like they were Capcom employees, but it wasn't like the core Resident Evil team developing it.
Right.
So
Yeah, I believe
there's a
that's
lot of
correct.
things that were in 3 that don't carry over to Code Veronica
Right.
that you would kind of expect, but it makes sense if you know the history more that they were being developed. simultaneously by different teams that probably weren't really talking to each other that much.
Right.
Yeah, so
And I think we
this whole era of Sega is so fascinating because they really just dropped the ball on Saturn, threw in the towel, and then we're all in Dreamcast, but Dreamcast was still like on the horizon at this point.
right.
Yeah, because this was originally intended to be a launch game for the Dreamcast, from what I read,
Oh,
and
interesting. I didn't
became
know that.
delayed. Yeah, like
Hmm.
at least for the US version, it was supposed to be
Okay.
launched in September of 1999.
And I mean, on paper, that seems like a really good strategy to have a series like Resident Evil, an installment as a launch game, a
Yeah.
new next gen Resident Evil as a launch game. That seems like a good idea. As we'll get to, though, Code Veronica, at least in its initial incarnation, did not sell very well.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like it's so well relative to the Dreamcast and the total
Yeah.
sales, but I couldn't find a lot of data about whether or not it was a system mover. So I
Yeah.
don't know if a bunch of people bought a Dreamcast to play Veronica, or is more that like everyone that had Dreamcast, or a lot of people that had Dreamcast bought Code Veronica.
My sense is it's the latter.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of about that in Itchy Tasty. Alex Aniel writes that, the game was a critical success, but it sold 1.14 million units on the Dreamcast, which is I think a function of not many people having a Dreamcast,
Yeah,
whereas
exactly.
Resident Evil 2 sold 4.9 million units.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
I think there was also some interesting passage where I think it was suggested or implied or maybe directly stated that some Capcom executive said, one out of every three Dreamcast owners, we want one out of every three Dreamcast owners to have
I read that
Code
too.
Veronica,
Yeah.
which is that's like an absurd expectation.
Yeah, and I also remember reading that like the initial sales expectations were revised way down. Like initially they wanted to sell 1 million within like the first shipment, and then they like revised that down to 400,000, and that was largely because the Dreamcast was
Right.
relatively underperforming from expectations, you
Yeah.
know.
I wish I could travel back in time to kind of get the pulse on whether or not interest in this series was also waning because I do know, I think from sales, two was at 4.9 million, three was somewhere in the 3 million. So I wonder too if we're maybe starting to see saturation with this series a
That's
little bit.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think of it so much as that as much as because this game did get a lot of press coverage, I
It did.
remember. Like this was a
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah.
I think it was just a fact where people just didn't want people just weren't buying the Dreamcast. Everybody was waiting for the PS2.
Yep. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
which was always the kind of what made it so hard, which is I did you have a Dreamcast? I guess we can kind of
I
jump into it.
I did. I think the Dreamcast was a great system. I think it was
Yeah,
really ahead of its
agreed.
time. It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
I'm part of the problem because I bought one after it failed, like when Sega was like, "Hey, you can buy a Dreamcast for 50 bucks because we just need to get by here." I was like, "Sold. I'll buy one for 50 bucks with my lawnmower money." And
Cool.
the games were super cheap. All the like I just bought a bunch of used games from the store and just spent a whole summer playing Dreamcast games in like 2002. It was
Oh, that's
awesome.
fun. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, just yeah, everybody's kind of waiting around for PS2 to come out and there's a whole let me get your thoughts on this. There's a whole sort of counter historical sense that like, oh, if Dreamcast would have put
Mm.
a DVD player, if Sega would have put a DVD player in the Dreamcast, would have solved everything. And I'm like, I don't know. That would have been I mean, it would have made it way more expensive for one thing. And a
Yeah.
big selling point for Dreamcast was it was 199. It was sort of
It
like
was
not a budget system,
199.
but yeah, it was
Holy
sold
cow.
for yeah, and the PS2 when that came out was 299. And it did have the DVD player, but Sony like made DVD players, so I feel like
Yeah.
Dreamcast would not be able to put a DVD player in there and only have be $300. It would probably have been more than
Right.
that, just because they would
Right.
have partner with a Panasonic or a different manufacturer to make that happen.
Right. That's a really interesting idea. I don't know. I think that on one hand, I do remember the kind of craze around DVDs as being the next big thing, like was legitimate. And
Yeah.
so I can see people that swaying some people, like, oh, I can have this system and I can get ahead of the curve on having a DVD player. But also, I think Sega's strategy with beat your competitors to getting a 108 or 128-bit console out onto the market earlier, like that didn't work.
It
So
didn't work, but yeah,
I
I don't
don't
think
know
it's a bad
if,
idea either. I don't know. I don't know that
yeah,
there's much. They're just in a really tough spot, Sega, at this point. I don't know that there's much they could have done to make the Dreamcast a success.
from a hardware perspective or from
Yeah, like
a,
I don't think the Dreamcast is like the Saturn where you can point to specific things, being like, okay, this was a mistake, this was a
right.
mistake, this was a mistake. I think they were just kind of fucked. They were just in a bad spot. And when was Xbox announced? That was like 2000. So that was
It,
really like a final nail too.
right,
Yeah,
right.
where it's like,
Yeah,
okay, well, we're gonna be like the fourth console manufacturer if we keep this going. So we might as well just pull the plug on this thing.
right. And I love to rip on Microsoft and Xbox, but to me, the Dreamcast was just such a better console.
I agree, but just Microsoft, they just had the money. They had the war
Yeah,
chest.
they
Yeah.
had the money, and they
Just
also,
force it through, you know?
yeah. I mean, I also feel like to me, the original Xbox really catered to like teenage Monster Energy drinkers, and like that was, they like
Yeah.
cornered the market on like it's literally called a fucking Xbox. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like
It had like the black and green color scheme and
Halo and brute
yeah.
force and like Gears of War and all this like military
Yeah.
shit. Like, like it was, and I played it as a kid, but I think in retrospect, I'm like, give me like Choo Choo Rocket.
Oh yeah. Dreamcast was so much more whimsical. They
Yeah.
had all the fun, like I mean Shenmue still has a great cult following and
Yeah. Jet Set
Seaman and
Radio.
That's It Radio. Like there's so much creative, cool
Yeah.
stuff in the Dreamcast. And it was just like just unfortunately, yeah, it was either I don't know if it was ahead of its time or behind its time, but it was not the right time for
Yeah.
what they were doing, unfortunately. So
I
yeah.
kind of think that maybe yeah, you could transplant the Dreamcast release to maybe like 2007, 2008.
Oh,
I feel like some of those games would have hit.
like have them take a break and then get
Hmm.
back into it. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I think like a lot of the games felt like very rooted in Japanese culture or subculture, and I kind of just wonder if maybe, there have always been Americans interested in that, but I think that later on things
Yeah.
kind of caught more in the mainstream.
Yeah. That's
So,
interesting. Yeah. And I mean ultimately we'll never we'll never know, but yeah, it
or will we?
didn't work out great for this particular game, which is why we have Resident Evil X, which is the version that came out for PlayStation
Code
2.
Code Veronica X.
Code
Yeah,
Veronica X,
yeah,
excuse me. Resident
yeah,
Evil Code Veronica X, yeah, which is
yeah.
the version that came out for because they're like, well, we gotta make more money on this, considering all the resources
Right,
we put into it. Yeah.
right, right. I
And I
have a
did not know apparently Code Veronica X came out for the Dreamcast in Japan, which I did not know. I thought it was like a PS2 exclusive
yeah,
everywhere. But
yeah.
yeah, I didn't know it came out for that. So
Yeah, I have a few additional development notes, and I think I won't read yours, but um I read in the Aniel book that Jill was supposed to be the initial protagonist for this
yeah, I
game.
read that too. Yeah.
But apparently who worked,
Hideki, that's right. Yeah.
yeah, Hideki Kamiya, who worked on Resident Evil 2, altered Claire's final line to her stated objective being finding Chris. And so the developer on this game, or I'm sorry, rather the writer Sugimura, felt obliged to pay that off in this game. So he's like, okay, we can't have Jill be the protagonist. We have to have Claire be the protagonist, which I thought was interesting.
What do you think was the timeline on that? Because we talked about Jill was made the protagonist of Resident Evil 3 when they
Right.
switched it to being from a side story to an official numbered game. Do you think that, so I guess what I'm getting at is, do you
Yeah.
think that Nemesis kind of claimed Jill and then they switched it to Claire? Or do you think it was switched to Claire and then they're like, oh, well, Jill's free, so we'll make her the protagonist of 3?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
My best guess from my understanding of this point in time was that people were kind of doing their own thing, and then when they talked to each other, they realized it was a problem. So I feel like this was almost maybe happening
Yeah,
concurrently. That is just
that makes
conjecture,
sense.
but it just kind of feels like it's what academia feels like to me. It's just like people doing different things, and then they're
Yeah, so
like,
many
wait,
people working on their own thing and be like, "Oh wait, you're doing that? I
I'm
was,
doing that. Wait, how does that work? And then they're like,
yeah.
I don't know, you take it.
Oh, you're
It's
also making a game with Jill as a protagonist? Fuck.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Who else we got?
Yeah, they're like,
Is there another woman in this game? What's her name? Claire?
Claire. Yeah, they're like
Claire in
Claire.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I
There's a find control, find and replace Jill to Claire.
right. But I mean, the game would have been it wouldn't have even made sense with Jill. Like you can't put Jill in the story and have it make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I guess
mean,
not.
because like what would she be doing there?
Yeah. Like Jill and Steve wouldn't have worked at all. Like that doesn't, those two don't match up.
Because Steve would have been way too horny.
Yeah. And Jill would have like no time for that. Whereas Claire is kind of like sweetly slash naively accepting of Steve, you know? I feel
Yeah,
like Jill would, like get this fucking weird kid away
that's
from me.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jill has a little bit more no nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if Jill was saying no to Carlos, she definitely would have been saying hell no to Steve,
Oh
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like she
Um,
slapped Carlos. She would have like
oh right, yeah. I forgot
who
about
knows what
that.
she
She
did with
did.
Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you think of this claim. This was something that Alex Aniel brought up in his book, but he speculates that the kind of more dramatic and cinematic story beats of Code Veronica are potentially in response to the more quote unquote elevation of story in video games like Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy
I can see
VI.
that. Yeah, they're trying to like kind of I don't know if keep up's the right word, but sort of like, oh, we can do that too, you know.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
there's definitely like I feel like there's probably at least a friendly rivalry between these different video game companies in terms of like critical acclaim and what
sure.
they're able to do. So yeah, I can see that
Yeah,
maybe going for a more complicated story. So
yeah. It's an interesting thought, and I think it kind of parallels our discussion of consoles in the sense that it's kind of industry standards and expectations potentially shaping
yeah,
some of these
and trends,
choices.
trends and forces.
Yeah.
Yeah, in console
Um,
industry. So
were there other development things that you wanted to talk about?
like development separate from the story.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. I guess the only thing I really want to talk about is there's still sort of a weird controversy about like the true sequel to Resident Evil 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, which we kind of got into, and I sent you some threads about it. But Resident Evil 3 was Resident Evil 3, obviously. Code Veronica was just subtitled Code Veronica, it was not 4. And there was a lot of speculation about that. The official company line was like, oh, well, we want all the numbered sequels to be on one console, one on the PlayStation. And then Shinji Mikami in 2020, there was an interview where he basically said that he felt that Code Veronica should have been numbered and was more deserving of like having a number 3 in front of it or number 4 in front of it than Nemesis was, but there's console politics that
yeah,
prevented that and
yeah.
was why. And I also there's an IGN article, I think from like 2009, so again like way after the
Hmm.
fact, basically said that Sony sort of like bartered some sort of deal with Capcom to make Nemesis, Resident Evil 3, and Code Veronica not have a number on it.
Interesting. Hmm.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting. It makes me wonder kind of like the politics of promising a port of Resident Evil 2 and then having to back out and make an original game, and then Sony saying like, well, what the hell? We want Resident Evil. We made this game. We put all this marketing behind it. You should have us have the main series. So it's kind of interesting what the real kind of story was behind it, which we'll probably never know. But
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
that's interesting. I think for me personally, I kind of see four as the sequel to two, and three and Code Veronica are just weird placeholders.
that's interesting because I think it's at the time, and we'll talk more about this when we get into the story, but at the time, I do think Code Veronica feels more like a sequel to 2
That's
than
fair.
3 does, but they don't go anywhere with it ultimately.
Yeah. Would you say that
Yeah.
because of Claire being the protagonist for Into and Code Veronica?
Yeah, yeah, it just feels more like this is the next part of the story with what's going out the umbrella. Whereas 3 is kind of like, oh,
Yeah,
here's what else is going on while 2 was happening, but you don't really get
right.
any additional information in 3 that you don't get into. Like there's still the outbreak in Raccoon City, Raccoon City still gets blown up, yada yada.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 3 in some ways almost feels like a coda to Raccoon City, but
Yeah.
also it's such a big deal because it's the game that literally blows Raccoon City up.
It does, yeah, it does blow Raccoon City up. But
Right,
yeah.
right. I can't wait for our equivalent to our discussion of thermobaric missiles versus nuclear missiles.
Yeah.
I do think we'll get that into your research on Antarctica, um, which I'm excited about.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
Um, did you so I can talk a little bit about this, but were you familiar with Wesker's Report at all? The DVD mockumentary that was a pre-order bonus for Code Veronica X?
No, not in real time. I didn't find that until we were researching about this game.
It's very
But
strange. It's very weird. I watched it in advance of this recording.
I watched
It's
it too. I feel like I didn't get a lot out of it. I
no.
started to take notes, and I was kind of like, this is, I don't know what's going on
Yeah,
here. So,
yeah. So it's strange, right? It's a kind of a documentary, quote unquote, narrated by Wesker. The game director, Kato, wrote it and made it out of footage from Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3. So most of the documentary is just cutscenes or gameplay from
yeah.
those games. Um, but the game, or I'm sorry, the documentary has a number of inconsistencies with the canon. And some of these are really just kind of big retcons. And I guess I'm wondering what you think of this
Hmm.
because there's a lot of kind of debate whether or not this documentary is canon or not. So, like for example, right, Wesker's narrating it. So I think the genesis for this was hey, Wesker's in Code Veronica. We need to explain and contextualize why he's in that game because he
Yeah.
dies in Resident Evil canonically.
Hmm.
So, Wesker is saying that basically it's confirmed that he was working for an opposing corporation of Umbrella, which is never stated the name of the company in the documentary. I think this is really, really dumb, but there's a gigantic retcon, and Wesker says that he injects the virus that he obtained from Birkin in advance. And from the words of Albert Wesker himself, quote, I injected the virus I obtained from Birkin in advance. If I made Umbrella believe I was dead, it made it far more convenient to sell myself to the opposing corporation. According to Birkin, the virus had profound effects. It would put my body in a state of temporary quote unquote death. It would then bring me back to life with superhuman powers. Therefore, I unleashed an awesome tyrant from its slumber and let it attack me.
So I'll say this. The way that that could make sense was if it's in character, Wesker making an excuse for what happened. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Because my understanding, and I guess I don't know where I got this from, but my understanding of the lore was always that Wesker, unleashed a tyrant. He got, was basically like about to die from being attacked by the tyrant, and then as a last ditch effort, he like injected himself with the virus to survive.
That was my understanding too, but I don't know where it came from.
But I could see Wesker because he's, a sociopath and very vain. Like he's lying when he's saying that. Like in universe, he's saying like, "Oh no, I planned all of this," even though he didn't plan all of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
That's the way I would make that make
Yeah,
sense. Would be Wesker's an unreliable narrator for this.
yeah. It does
Yeah.
open up a lot of questions because it's like, then why did he do a documentary? Who is it for?
Yeah, who's he making
Like,
this for?
he's like,
Yeah.
but I'm
He's
lying.
submitting it to to Sundance. Yeah.
He's
He's
like,
the big he was home one day watching a documentary day on IFC and was like, damn, I gotta do one of these things,
he's
Yeah.
like, I know how to use iMovie and
Yeah.
I mean, it was 2001, so everybody was like going nuts, right?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if iMovie was out in 2001.
Probably some equivalent of it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh,
whatever the 2001 version of iMovie was, he was like,
it,
I could do this.
it was
I
out
got
in
some free time.
99.
Well, there you
So
go.
yeah.
Yeah. And Wesker, he
Um,
was, maybe Umbrella had an advanced copy
perhaps.
through their corporate espionage.
Right.
Yeah,
The-
Carlos stormed Apple and stole a copy of iMovie ahead of it, and Wesker, yeah, subsequently. So,
I'm I,
but
I'm curious what you think of these there are three other minor points that are relevant to the story in this documentary, and I don't think that they're necessarily, I think these are the things that people are uncertain about canonically. So one, Wesker says explicitly that he was working with Ada, and two, and that he hired her. Two, he
hmm.
says Leon joined an underground anti-umbrella organization after two. And then three, Wesker has Sherry captured, and he says, quote, Sherry is safe in our hands. I would never underestimate Birkin. There's something about this little girl.
Those are interesting because I feel like those are also contradicted
Yeah,
because for Leon's working for like the government, and like
right.
that's my implication was that he was like contacted by like a spy movie type of thing. Like he got contacted by like a handler and I was like, hey, we want you to be like a secret
Right.
agent for us, an anti-BOW guy. And then Sherry was also like taken by the government, right? Because Claire visits Sherry at some point. I don't know. The lore gets very confusing and very
It
at times
does.
contradictory if
I
you
mean,
dig into this.
and
But
that this to me contradicts at least the last information we have about Sherry, which I think is like non-canonical now, but those like bizarre Resident Evil 3 endings.
yeah,
And so I don't think Sherry was kidnapped by Wesker at the end of three. So this is like new information.
yeah, I don't think so either. But yeah, and Ada working for Wesker at the end of I guess that's believable because Ada's working with him at four for sure.
Right.
You know.
So I'm like, is it predicting that? Is it
Yeah.
anticipating that? Or is it just a shot in the dark and then they went with it? I mean, there aren't that many players in this universe, that it's like it's not inconceivable that Ada would be working with Wesker.
Yeah. Or Ada's like a double agent, triple agent type of thing,
Okay. Yeah.
where maybe she's taking these resources from these different groups, then she's gonna ultimately sell the T-virus to the highest bidder at the end of it. That could be you know,
Yeah.
an angle too. But yeah,
Apple.
it's kind of confusing. There's some other confusing things about the story.
Yeah. It's just
Even
like,
beyond the wire lore, even in this game, there's some stuff that's like, huh?
right.
Like, so, but
Yeah.
which is funny because as much as they're like, oh, we create this whole company called Flagship to keep track of the lore and make it all make sense, and it's like, well, you didn't do a great job of that.
No,
And I
not
know it's a
really.
hard job, but it's still, yeah, it's
Yeah.
very easy. Which
Yeah.
maybe is part of the charm. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's getting complicated. And to me, the kind of visual I have is, like almost like the spread of a virus, like one, two that's moving
Oh,
vertically, and then three in Code Veronica just starts to kind of expand
yeah,
outward.
it's
And it's
evolving.
like, right. And it's like also, but it takes you into some weird places. And it's like, I don't understand what this is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But because we're moving away from Raccoon City in this game.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're moving now from that. The initial kind of concept of the story was we were going to do something kind of European Gothic. I'm sure you saw in your research. There's the concept drawings like Gothic European castles.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this is a story of a noble family that's fallen on sort of like I don't want to say hard times, but sort of like diminished what they were.
Right.
And the initial story, they're ex-Nazis. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad they didn't do that. Like somebody had the good sense to be like,
Mm,
yeah, maybe not. Maybe we don't do that part. But
that's yeah.
yeah, the official reason is like, oh, well, it'll hurt sales in Europe because you know, you can't sell a game in Germany with like swastikas all over the place, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess that makes it sound like there was going to be like Nazi iconography all over, but
I
they
mean,
could
did you
put.
see the designs? Like they were like literally in Nazi
Oh, I
uniforms. Like,
didn't. I didn't see the
yeah,
designs.
yeah.
I
Like
just read it.
the
Yeah.
yeah, the the characters that would become like Alfred and Alexia and Alexander Ashford, they were yeah, like full on Nazi
Oh
regalia.
wow.
Yeah.
Mm,
So that
mm,
maybe won't get over well to have
yeah,
that just on
yeah.
the cover. Yeah, just a big swastika. And then yeah, we talked about Jill was going to be the original protagonist, and at some point it switched to Claire. Claire had pink jeans at first. That was one thing I learned, which that's another good change.
Wow.
So
Yeah. Why would they
those
do
are
that?
two
That
those
doesn't
are two
even.
positive changes. They said no pink jeans and no Nazis, guys. Those are our two. We have two rules here at Capcom. Up on the whiteboard in the conference room. No Nazis, no pink jeans. So
Yeah, that's for the best. The
yeah.
the pink jeans in particular. I do think
That
there
was
would.
weird. I saw some early footage from it, and it's like, yeah, they did well just going with the standard sort of bootcut jeans that she has on. So I think she has long pants instead of shorts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a little more sensibly.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think more sexualized in this game at times.
I would agree with that, but it's also through the eyes of Steve, her sexualization, or is it not?
Well, yes, yes. I would say yeah, in
Yeah.
game. I think like there are a few things in the cutscenes opening that we'll get to that I thought it
Okay.
was weird. Like just kind of focus on her. I don't know what this would be called. Your back midriff.
Yeah, she definitely does. Yeah, that's a good point. She has the very late 90s or
Hmm.
2000s midriff shirt.
Yeah.
And yeah, what's that called when you see like the curve of somebody's back? I don't know
I
what it's called.
mean,
It's not like
I
their ass crack, but it's like the
yeah.
ass crack of your middle back.
I should know this because I'm going to be
Yeah,
a
you're a
licensed
massage
massage
therapist.
therapist, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. If I
I
came to you
mean,
as like, Logan, the the ass crack of my middle back is really bothering me.
I'd be like, this is what I would. I wouldn't want to say this, but I would find a better way to say this. It's like, can you show me where that is? It's just, can you just point to it?
Yeah, that's a good way to
Yeah.
handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I would just say lower back.
Lower back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
The
Her
ass.
lumbar region.
Yeah. The ass crack of
Her
the lower back.
yeah. Her L5S1 disc is very prominent. But yeah, and then as far as like the gameplay goes, to wrap back towards for the development standpoint, we still have the quick turn, which I'm thankful for.
Yes.
No more dodge mechanic. I kind of miss the dodge, even though
I
it
do
didn't work.
too.
Yeah, there's some times where it's like, yeah, it'd be handy to have a dodge here, even if there's like a coin flip that was gonna work or not. Um, don't miss the item crafting, ammo
No.
crafting, or the what were they called? The real-time events.
Oh, the kind of split decision.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
decide which you want to do type of
No.
things. I don't miss those either. But yeah, it would be nice if there was some more dodging. And I felt I guess I didn't compare them side by side, but this game feels a little slower than three. Like it feels more
Yes.
like the Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2 style combat where you just run the corner and shoot stuff.
Right.
You're
Right.
not,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not as fast paced as the other games, but
Right. And part of me wonders if that is somewhat a consequence of A, the kind of console politics we talked about, but also B, the fact that we're dealing with a system that has a lot more processing power. And so, the environments are more rendered, weather
oh
is more
yeah.
dynamic. So wanting
Yeah,
to
like they're
really
using
preserve
more
that.
console power just rendering like the backgrounds and the
Hmm.
environments versus like the actual moment-to-moment gameplay.
Right.
That
Having,
would make sense.
yeah, an active
Yeah.
camera that somewhat follows you, even if the tank controls are still present.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like a hybrid because we still
Yeah.
have tank controls. We still do have like camera angles, security cam style camera angles, but also the camera is dynamic at some point, so it'll like follow you
Yeah.
in a cinematic style. Although it feels very, when it does do that, it feels very like programmed to me. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like it's like, oh, this is the part we're gonna have the camera do that to kind of show off.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
like, I mean, and this is a bad comparison, but it's not like a Super Mario 64 with
I
a
was about to
free,
say that. Yeah.
nice, yeah, a
Yeah.
free camera that you can
Yeah.
control.
There's not a little a turtle man, flying turtle man following around the camera like there was in Mario 64. So
Right. Yeah.
in universe.
Yeah. It's like, wait, Lakitu? Lakitu
Yeah.
exist?
Yeah, Lakitu, that's the guy's name. Yeah,
Yeah.
little fellow with the
Yeah.
glasses.
Little, would you wear a shirt that has like a T virus infected Lakitu?
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
It's neat. It's niche.
get a cease and desist from both parties, yeah. Yeah. Do it.
Let's do
All
it.
right. We're gonna
All
jump into
right.
characters. We got several returning favorites, and then kind of like Resident Evil 3, we have a lot of one-off characters that have um various things about them. I don't know. It's interesting. Um I have number one on my list is Claire Redfield, who we kind of talked about.
Yeah.
So she was the
Sister
protagonist of two. She's the younger sister of Chris Redfield, and kind of the reason why she's here is she was looking for Chris, and she broke into Umbrella facility in Paris and got captured. Right around Christmas too.
around Christmas?
Yeah, because we're 3 months past the events of
Oh, good call.
Resident Evil 2, which is
Good
like late
call.
September. It's like September 28th. So I don't know exactly when she got captured, but it would be like late December. So
Yeah. And
yeah.
I think that I think it's weird that just I'll just say because we're here that we know that Claire was going to look for Chris after the end of Resident Evil 2, but that whole process of her breaking into the facility that feels like a whole like we missed something. It just drops us in kind of in the
Yeah, it's
middle
like
of
a whole
that.
nother like how'd you get there? How'd you find the thing? She apparently never talked to Chris before that. But then
Yeah,
when she needs to get rescued, Chris finds her like right away. It's very, yeah, that part's really kind of confusing timeline wise and weird too.
right. So
Yeah,
that's weird.
but yeah, Claire's here. She's still old Claire self, just with long pants.
Yep. Yep.
And her jacket now says, what does it say? Let me live? Is that
Right.
what it
It does
says?
not say made in heaven
Does not say
anymore.
made in heaven.
Thank
So I think
God.
that's an improvement. Well,
That
she gave
is
made in heaven to Sherry, so she had to get a new jacket with a
right.
saucy little saying on the back of it.
Let me live.
Let me live.
Do you think
Yeah.
she do you, do you think she just wore that to the umbrella facility because she
Just
wasn't
to
sure?
convince them.
Yeah, she's like, I might get captured.
Yeah,
Like,
they'll be
check the
fooled by it.
jacket.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah. And she does not ride well, actually, I played a little bit of the battle game and you get a picture of her on the motorcycle when you beat her
Oh, cool.
during the battle game, but in game you don't see her riding a motorcycle.
No,
She doesn't
no,
really have a chance. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, I like Claire. She's I would say like wholesome.
Yeah, she's not naive, but she's like not cynical and jaded either. Like Jill
Hmm.
feels a little more like jaded to me,
Yeah, yeah,
whereas Claire feels more like kind of yeah, like the 20-year-old version of Jill, where she's looking forward to she wants to get out there and make a difference and
yeah. She's
take down Umbrella.
optimistic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
optimistic
yeah.
about her chances to single-handedly take down a paramilitary, which she kind of does.
She kind of does.
Yeah, we'll
She
get
kind of
into it.
does.
There's only one guy she can't escape, but he'll be later on in our list of
Right,
characters. So,
right.
uh,
Um,
you want to talk about Steve? I know you.
I I
I know you're a big
really
Steve head. So
I do want to talk about Steve, and I don't want to talk about Steve. I
he sucks
think
so bad.
he,
He's awful.
as I told you, I think the best summation of Steve was from a YouTube comment I read that he is the Jar Jar Binks of Resident Evil.
Yeah, except
He's less
less
racist.
charming.
Oh, okay.
Well, and less racist.
We're like one, two, three. You're like less charming, and I'm like less racist.
I mean, Jar
Um,
Jar Binks is, to be fair, Jar Jar Binks himself isn't racist. He's
right,
a racial stereotype.
right, yeah,
So, just to be fair to the character of Jar Jar Binks,
right.
no any Jar Jar Binks slander on this podcast. So,
Okay.
but yeah, Steve Burnside is not a Jamaican caricature. So,
No,
no,
but
he's pretty standard white guy.
he was modeled after Leonardo DiCaprio, right? But Steve
Yeah, Steve
sucks.
Burnside. He's a prisoner from Umbrella. He's 17 years old. We eventually find out he's taken prisoner along with his father. So his father works for Umbrella. I think his mother did too. I feel like I read that, but I don't think his mom was involved in the stealing. I think it was just
No.
his dad was trying to steal. And then they showed up to their house. They killed his mom. They took his
Yeah.
dad prisoner. He came home from school, and they just arrested him too because they're like, well, we might as well. And
Right.
then he something else is going on with him because like my big thing, and we'll get into this, is how does he know how to fly a plane and helicopters and shit?
Hmm.
Like that's
Yeah.
just, and they never even bother trying to explain
Right.
it.
Or how is he so proficient with
Or like,
double
yeah,
wielding
guns.
machine
Yeah.
guns? Like he's like a gun nut. Like he's
Yeah.
like actually a gun nut.
Yeah, he like no, and that's weird too because he's portrayed as like, oh, he's just a kid. He doesn't actually know guns. He just wants to know what's like cool.
Right.
But then he knows how to like use them proficiently.
Yeah. It's very
Yeah, so that's kind of yeah.
concerning.
It's concerning, and it's one of the things that's been kind of fun about Resident Evil so far is that like everyone has a there's always a suspend your disbelief with any sort of like everyman action movie where it's like, well, how does this person know how to like survive? But like at least it's like somewhat plausible with some of the
Sure.
Resident Evil games where, there's the stars, they're paramilitary, like trained. Leon, he's a cop and seems to be pretty like take it pretty seriously, probably graduated, near top of his class for training. Claire, she's Chris's little sister, so she probably looked up to him and is into guns for that reason. He probably like took her shooting when she was, growing up and stuff like that. But yeah, Steve, like, what's his backstory? How's he know how to
Right.
do it?
Right.
Yeah, it's never revealed.
Yeah, we don't get
Yeah.
any information about that or really on his father other than he was selling company secrets, which is why he was
Yeah.
imprisoned.
And he's dressed like he's like going to Warp Tour, which is weird. Like, why is he dressed like that? Like, he's not dressed
Yeah.
like a prisoner. He's like has like a tank top with like a loose like button-up shirt over it that's not buttoned and like skinny jeans, basically.
And he has a
Yeah, and a
choker.
collar. Yeah,
He
he
has
has
a
a choker that I
choker
think
with
is supposed
his,
to be like his prison tags, but it
yeah,
looks like it's meant to be like again like a stylistic choice.
it's
Yeah.
like, and I feel like this is interesting because, right, this game is now 20, almost 25 years old.
Yeah.
But, and sometimes I look back on weird, outdated fashion things fondly. This is not one of those
No,
cases.
I don't look back at this fondly at all.
No,
It's very 90s. But it
no.
makes no sense because he's, like
Right.
if you get arrested, they don't like dress you in the Haas fashion of whatever year you're in. You just put on an orange jumpsuit.
Right. Or why would they give you
Yeah.
a choker with your prison ID number on it? That doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. That's so
That's
stupid.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see his original design, by the way?
I didn't know.
The original design is really crazy. It's again very, very anime. Like he has like green pants and no shirt on. It's very strange. It's like, what the fuck
Oh,
is
oh,
that?
that's weird. Yeah. That's
So
very
I guess it's an
funny.
improvement from that, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't like the design. I don't like the voice actor.
Nope.
Um, I'm not saying that people should go find the voice actor and harass them. That's not what I'm saying, to be clear, because I happened to Ada Wong in Resident Evil 4, which was not
Right.
cool.
Yeah, not great.
Uh, but it's weird that they cast like the most Canadian person of all time to play this guy. Like every time he says sorry, I just get taken out of it because it's like, oh, sorry, sorry, Claire. It's like, oh my God, you're so Canadian. I can't take it.
It's just like a high-pitched nasally voice too.
Yeah, it's very whiny, very emo.
Yeah. And unfortunately our second, well, would you say he's the second or third protagonist of the game? Probably the third.
I guess he's the third protagonist, but he's kind of like your Rebecca slash Carlos slash Barry, like your companion character. And here's real Steve, which isn't that much better. Like he's got, yeah, again, the blue
Ugh.
kind of like button-up shirt that's not buttoned up, a belt with a belt buckle, and like camo cargo pants, and his dumb red hair. Oh my God.
Yeah, which is like he's got
Yeah.
the swoopy emo bang.
Yeah, he's got the swoopy emo bangs. Again, he looks like a third grade like stage for 10 a.m. He's playing the bass at Warp Tour
Oh
type of guy.
God,
That's what it
yeah.
looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. It
And
also
then he's, hitting on 15-year-olds the whole time.
it feels like
I guess he's
traffic.
17, so that's
Yeah.
maybe legal depending on where you're at, but still it's not good behavior.
No. I feel
No.
like Travis Kelce would launch clothing brands like what Steve is wearing.
Travis Kelce, the Mr. Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a context
I don't
for
know much
this.
about Travis Kelce, sorry. I know he's I think he's a tight end, maybe. Is that his profession?
It sounds like you I actually don't know. I'm not
Oh, okay.
sure.
I know he's a
Um
football man.
yeah,
Yeah.
he like launched an American Eagle brand that looks like it kind of reminds me of Steve's outfit.
I'll have to look at this. This is funny because Alice and I were talking about this on we were watching our finish show.
Uh-huh.
There's a guy that has like his own clothing line, and I was like, what is it with white guys and being like,
I
I'm gonna make a
know.
clothing
I
line?
know.
And it's always just like, what if I wore a white t-shirt and like black jeans? That's my clothing line. It's like you look the same as everyone else in the world.
Yeah. It's actually the
What is
second
this? This is
the
Travis Kelce. I'm so
this
confused. Or is this is a Street Fighter thing?
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. So that was
I think what have to do with Travis Kelce. Oh,
uh
it does kind of look like Steve,
yeah, so
the shitty Steve that we looked at.
that's Alex
Yeah.
from Street Fighter 3. So I'm like, were they like trying to,
Oh,
you know,
they
um
like debuffed him. They made him skinny.
right, yeah.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
then there's Travis Kelce stuff, which reminds me of Steve.
Well,
It's a
I have
stretch.
a preview for the end. I have a new segment I want to do of best dressed and least best
Oh,
dressed
great.
and worst dressed.
Yeah.
So we'll have to save these slots. That guy in the middle is Travis Kelce. I guess you can't see what I'm looking
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
He has like fall camo on.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
It looks awful. And also like, okay, I'm not one to talk, but a jacket over a hoodie isn't the best look.
No, not really.
Yeah.
It's
And
not very
I dress
interesting.
like that all the time because it's cold, but
Right.
like
But
I
it's
wouldn't dress like that
functional.
for fashion.
You're not
Yeah.
launching your clothing line.
Yeah, exactly. He looks like shit in this. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't think
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if anybody's ever made a Steve Burnside Travis Kelce connection.
Travis Kelce connection. Yeah. So yeah. I do remember hearing I don't know much about Taylor Swift. Not my business, but there's all like the Gaylor Swift stuff, you know what I'm
Oh
talking about?
yeah.
This is
Oh
maybe
yeah.
problematic. Yeah. And people were like having meltdowns when she got married because they had like headcanon Taylor Swift to be gay.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
I was very like, it's time to log off. You
Yeah.
gotta.
This is yeah.
And
This
there's
to quote a line from actually a Connor O'Malley video, the state of parasocial relationships is out of control. But it really is.
it's really out of
It
control.
really
Yeah.
is. Yeah, it
Either way.
is. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah, people
Oh.
treat people's lives like they're these like weird fucking
Yeah, like they're
Zodiac
dolls to
killer
them.
puzzle.
Yeah.
It's like what? Like
Yeah. Yeah,
why? Like
like a puzzle, and then like every celebrity or any public figure is like a little toy for them to play with. It's like weird. I don't know, it's very
yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we would never do that with Steve Burnside though, as we talk about how much we hate him.
No, we just hate him. I think
Yeah, he
he's
just sucks. Yeah.
yeah, I we'll have to see. I'm gonna make this claim now and we'll see if it holds throughout our future recordings. I think he's the worst character in the entire series.
That's interesting because I think it's debatable if he's the worst character in this game.
Oh boy, yeah.
But yeah,
What
maybe. I don't know.
what a
And there's some
segue.
guys in six that are pretty brutal. So
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't even remember them. They're just like generic.
Yeah. Well, six, and then wasn't to my shame, there's a guy named Keith that's very annoying. I think he's in like one of the Revelations games. Do
Hmm,
you ever play
okay.
those?
I actually didn't.
I guess this will be a conversation for like a year down the line, but we'll have to decide if we want to play those for the show or not. Because I do think they're fun. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's a character named Keith that's like annoying, like a Steve Burnside esque sort of like
Uh,
annoying whiny little dude bro guy.
not great.
So
Not great.
yeah, but
But you know who else is not
anyway,
great?
that's Steve. We'll get into his foibles as we go. When
The
worry.
the foibles of Steve Burnside. Excellent
Yeah, who are we on
episode.
next? I had to
Your
I lost
fave,
my Google Doc. I had to
Chris.
Chris Redfield. And he looks weird in this game. They redesigned him and they made him less buff and they made his hair like gave him like spiky 2000s hair. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, 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 yeah. They made him less buff?
Yeah, I don't know. To me, he looked way different. I
Oh,
think so. He looks skinnier, like in like the initial like loading screen, like press
yeah,
start, load game, new game.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I don't
think
know. He looks much more generic than he did.
he does look more generic. To me, this is like, I guess I'm used to things like this with, and maybe you are too, but I'm used to things like this with like Mortal Kombat. Like the characters like change between iterations.
Yeah,
Like they
that's
look
true.
kind of different, but you're
Yeah,
like, that's like not really what their face looked like before. So
yeah,
part of me is like, is this a Dreamcast slash 128-bit, 256-bit rendering thing, or did they have a different design?
yeah. I
Yeah,
guess I don't know to the extent that it was like a design choice versus just like, oh, we're just gonna have him look like that. But yeah,
right,
Chris, he's kind of the second protagonist, although not in a way, not in the same way that like Jill and Chris in one and
right.
Leon and Claire in two. Like Claire's definitely your main character in this game.
Yeah,
And then you play very briefly as Steve. And how many like what percentage of the game do you play as Chris? Maybe like 20%?
Twenty
It's
twenty
not,
five
it's way less
percent
than it's less than 50 for sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
And and I feel like maybe this is evidence of some of the issues I have with this story, or at least it is for me. But I mean, Chris's motivation in this game is looking for Claire, but Claire's motivation
And
is
Claire's
looking for
looking for
Chris.
Chris, yeah.
And so
And
they're
then she
just
finds and then she just like sends him an email. It's very weird. Like
wait,
the
no,
timeline is very yeah, well,
she she sends Leon an email,
oh yeah, she
right?
sent Leon an email, but then Leon's like with Chris. So it's like, couldn't she always just ask Leon where Chris was? I don't know. The whole yeah, it's I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
We're gonna have
Um,
to I think there's some headcanon you can do to make this make sense, but on the surface, it's kind of a sloppy story. So
yeah.
yeah, Chris, I don't know that we get a lot of like we'll go through the story. I don't know if there's a bunch of like revelations we get about Chris in this game. He's just kind of
No.
still there, still
Yeah.
like your hyper competent sort of I'm a soldier type of guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a
Yeah.
lot of interesting development. But we do feature sorry, the game features the return of Albert Wesker.
I thought you had a really good point of this, is that they kind of ruined this by putting him on the was he on the cover of the game or just like the loading
He's
screen?
on
But
the
either way,
loading
before you
screen.
start the game, you know that Wesker's gonna be in the game.
Right. He's in the
Which I
middle.
think it would have had more impact if they would have not revealed that. And that would have been like,
Right.
oh shit, Wesker's here, you know?
Right. It's
Yeah.
it's his face in like kind of like smoke. And then as we talked about, they gave him like a gap
Yeah,
tooth.
he has like buck teeth. It's a little bit like ethereal, like floating
Yeah,
above
it's
them.
like a movie
Yeah.
poster, right? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
And
sure weird. But yeah, Wesker's back and he's a monster now. So that's
right.
cool.
Yeah. Well,
He's like
and
a superhuman guy.
right. He this we'll talk about this, but this game was definitely influenced by The Matrix, and that is certainly evident in his character. He's running up walls, he's doing
Yeah,
flips.
he's Agent Smith and all over the place.
He sure
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Yeah.
And like the fast slow motion of the Matrix, where it's like
Right.
slow-mo, but it's meant to convey that they're moving really fast.
Right.
Um,
He still hates Chris. He even
he's
says that.
well, yeah.
I
There's a thin
mean,
line between love and hate.
yeah. I mean, even if
He
he
doesn't kill
loves,
Chris.
no, but he was going to,
Yeah, I don't know.
maybe.
I think that Albert wants Chris to like join him, like team up. I think that's why he lets him live.
But then why wouldn't he
Like I
just
know it's a
ask him?
game, and they're not gonna just like have Albert Wesker kill Chris. Like that'd be pretty anticlimactic. But it is kind of like, yeah, he and yeah, we'll get to it as we go to the game. But there's a few times where he's like the jealous ex of Chris, you know, where he's like, oh, you're rolling your eyes, but where he's
Wait,
kind of like, well, I'm gonna go be in Antarctica. You better not show up there, Chris, type of stuff. You know what I mean?
but who
Yeah,
is he jealous of?
he's jealous that Chris has moved on and he hasn't got over Chris yet.
That's true. He does have the line that we'll talk about later or now. He says, "Chris is one of my best men.
That's one of my best men.
I'll
Yeah.
let you handle this."
I'll let
It's
you
like
handle this.
the
Yeah.
fuck. Out of context, it sounds like there would be like the sound of a pant zip
Yeah.
after that.
They have a weird relationship. And even like like we first see him with Claire, and Claire has a line that made me laugh where she's like, "I don't know what went on between you and my brother." And it's very like yeah, you run into your friends like crazy acts, and you're like, "I'm not taking sides, just so you know, I'm not like."
I like
That was the vibe I got.
you
So
have this whole
I have this
headcanon.
whole headcanon where like
It's
Chris and Alfred dated, and Wesker never got over it. Yeah, but
I will say Wesker's motivations in this game are a little messy. Because I think it wasn't clear to me until he showed up that, and getting into the story of this game, right, you're on an island and the island is attacked by
yeah,
bombs. The island is bombed, and it turns out Wesker's behind it, and he's
Wesker's
doing
behind it.
this
Yeah.
right to get a sample of the T. Veronica virus.
Yes.
And so we don't really learn that for a while, so it's unclear what he's doing there. He's not there for Chris, but it is a bonus that he can
Yeah. Chris and Claire just
allegedly.
like happen to be there. Yeah.
Right. So this is also kind of a bizarre, let's bring Wesker back into the fold kind of move,
Yeah.
even though he was canonically dead in Resident Evil. And then to have him coincidentally be there at the same time,
Yeah.
the
To show up.
Redfields.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad they brought him back though, because I do like Wesker. I think he's got the very the like Bond supervillain type of
Yeah.
vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is fun. So I don't know. I think he's a fun villain, unlike the other some of the other people talk about, which
Right.
maybe they're fun. I don't know. I think
No.
they're fun, but
No. Thank God Wesker's in this
no.
game. Without Wesker, I feel like this game would suck more ass.
Yeah, Wesker brings some like fun lightheartedness to it, where it's like it's cheesy, but like the good kind of cheesy, I
Yeah.
feel like Wesker
Yeah.
brings, which I like. Yeah. But yeah, there's not a ton of characters in this game, so I have three more on my list.
Yes.
Uh
Are you considering the Gulpworm a character?
no,
Okay.
I'm not considering the Gulfworm a character. Do you have anything with the Gulfworm? It's weird that he's here. How many worms do they make? Like, do
Yeah.
you think they made him in Raccoon City and then shipped him here? Or do you think they like all
Yeah, I don't
sources
know.
here
Why,
already?
yeah, why is he there?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And
Um,
there's multiple of them because we gulp worms, unless it
like
recovered. I
in
don't
the
know.
in the franchise?
Well, because we kill one in the MTF as Claire, right? Or
So
maybe we
I
don't kill him.
I just avoided the Gulpworm until I couldn't.
Oh, okay. So I guess my point was, is it the same gulp worm that
Oh, I
attacks
see.
Claire as that kills Rodrigo? Or is it a different
I
gulp?
understood it to be the same,
The
but
same
there's
gulp
no
worm.
evidence of that.
Yeah. Guess it's probably the same, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
we'll have to do a side by side comparison and see if there's any distinguishing characteristics between the two.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe
yeah,
a bonus episode,
a bonus episodes go.
Gulpworm analysis.
um yeah, they're really the main villains of this game are two twins. So we got Alfred Ashford and Alexia Ashford. And there's a lot to get into. And
There
you
sure
wanna
is.
uh
I would say go for it with Alfred because I think you
we
have a
meet Alfred first, and
yeah.
we know the most about Alfred. So the Ashfords are British nobility. So specifically, they're earls. I look up what an earl was. Like I'd heard it before, but I know where they fell in like the hierarchy of noblemen. And I kind of like this detail. I don't know if they did this on purpose, but they're kind of in the middle.
Mm,
And the
yeah.
earl is between a viscount and a marquise.
Okay.
So like the third level of noblemen.
Gotcha.
And I kind of like that because he's very like haughty. He's like, oh, I'm better than everyone else on Earth, and everyone cowers before me. But he's like not even that impressive as like just even
No.
nobleman. He's kind of like, he's probably like I don't know. I don't know how many earls are in the world, but there's he's not like the only earl in England. There's a
Right.
bunch of them.
Right. And he's essentially,
Um,
as far as nobility goes, middle management.
yeah, exactly. And he's not like he's in Umbrella because his grandfather founded Umbrella, so they kind of like keep him around, but sort of imply that he's not good at his job and sort of like shuns it off to like shitty assignments, like
Yeah.
being in charge of this crummy prison island thing. And like Antarctica, which is, kind of like being sent to Siberia in like Soviet
Right,
Russia,
right.
who wants to be in charge of Antarctica. So he's born in 1971. So this game takes place in late 1998, so he's 27 when we meet him. And we find out eventually that he's a test tube baby.
Yep.
Um, we don't really know who his mom is or supposed to be. His dad is
No.
Alexander Ashford, who's
Right,
the sixth Earl of Ashford,
right.
but he never says anything about like, oh, and this person's gonna pretend to be their mom. He just apparently just showed up one day and had two twins and was like,
Yeah,
yeah, these are the kids.
it's very
Don't ask any other
unclear.
questions. Yeah. Um, More weird details. He graduated in 1993 from university. I don't know what he studied. Pre Presumably political science, I guess. That would be.
Oh, or
Or
like
he got an MBA
military
degree.
history,
Oh, military history. I can see
maybe.
that because he likes military stuff. He's like dressed up in a military uniform, and there's all sorts of especially like old timey like guns and rifles and like
Yeah.
halberds and stuff
Yeah,
and
it's very
tanks and
strange.
planes. Yeah, he seems to be very like neurotically into like military shit. So he took over Rockford Island, where the first part of the game is set. There was a population already there, and he kicked them out to make the prison camp.
Yeah,
Um,
that's not
and I
great.
and I got different things. So there's some places where it says the native population, but then it also says that this was populated by Spanish colonists. So I
Hmm,
don't think there's like an indigenous population in Rockford. I think it was more like at some
interesting.
point it was settled, like without indigenous population, and then those people, their descendants still lived in the island, and then he kicked them all out. I don't
Interesting.
know if that makes it
Okay.
better or worse, but for whatever
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
And then yeah, he lives in a crazy Grey Garden style mansion, uh, with his sister, quote unquote, which we'll talk about for the next person. And he's very secretive. So he doesn't want anyone else to know that there's a second mansion. I feel like people know about that and just don't
Right.
mention it to him.
Right.
Because even like his secretary, Bob, which I like the secretary just named Bob, uh, like talks about like seeing Alexia through the window. And then eventually he's put to death by Alfred for not clear if he like found out about Alfred and Alexia's relationship or like did something else. But yeah, Bob had what he described as made a small mistake and that was put to
Yes.
death by
Yes.
Alfred. He also built a secret bridge from the main house to the second secret house and then killed all the workers that worked in the bridge. So he won't be able to know that there's a bridge there.
Yeah.
Even though again, I feel like it's not that big of an island. You probably just like everybody probably knew there was a bridge already.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
Just seems
feel,
like a bad secret. Yeah.
yeah. And this is just like, this is all just so like capital D diabolical, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. He's like a Bright Irons guy where they're just like throwing shit at the wall and like let's make him as fucked up as possible, as much as we can do.
Right. Right. He has a high pitched, very kind of effeminate laugh.
Yeah, he has like the giggling laugh and
Yeah.
yeah. Did you get British from him? I was
No.
confused when I first started. I was like, what are they supposed to be? Like, what nationality are they? And then later I was like, they said they were
Yeah.
British, but they don't really have a British
They
accent.
don't
They
have a
almost have like
British accent.
a transatlantic accent almost, like if that. It's just kind of
Yeah.
like, yeah.
I was confused by the voice acting in this game generally.
Yeah,
Uh,
same.
so yeah, the fact that they're British, I mean, I guess you're saying that and I knew that, but this is the first time I've ever really kind of squared with it.
Yeah. Like I feel like they could be anything. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. But yeah, he's not a good boss. There's some notes. There's a note apparently in the N64 version of RE2
Hmm.
that talks about how he mismanaged the Antarctica facility and that led to a shortage of some drug they were manufacturing there.
Wow.
That's interesting. And he's
Yeah.
also he's a bad boss because I don't know if you ever had any jobs like this. You put in a time off request and it just sits there and sits there and sits there. And then the day before you're supposed to go on vacation, it comes back denied. That would be
Hmm.
annoying.
That would
And that
be,
happens
yeah.
to the workers in Antarctica. You find a note about it. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
he's not good with his emails either. He has bad inbox management. So
Yeah.
on top of everything
On
else.
top of the killing people and, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit less of a serious offense
yeah.
than killing
Yeah.
people. But yeah. Those are like the worst things you do as a boss is one,
Killing.
kill people, and two, be like not good at responding to emails.
I think so.
Yeah.
1A, maybe more 1A and 1B.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, the funny thing is that even though he's like super paranoid, he was kind of onto something, right? Like the facility was attacked. So he was right
Yeah.
there. Like
Yeah.
he was right to be paranoid. And there's a note we find from Hunk actually about
Right.
like delivering a tyrant to the island, which was, I guess, him trying to bolster up the defenses because he thought that they're about to be attacked. He misreads
That's
the situation, thinks like Claire is behind it, but he,
right.
yeah, kind of predict that something's up.
And I guess, I mean, I think this will come up in our discussion. It seems so absurd for him to think that Claire is behind bombing the island, but at the same time, the cutscene demonstrates that Claire can take out a dozen, member Umbrella platoon. So I'm like,
Yeah,
maybe
if
it's
you
not
saw
that
like
far-fetched.
yeah, if you saw like the footage from Claire, you'd be like, holy shit, yeah. So maybe it's not. Yeah, he thinks Claire's like a sleeper agent that was like captured on purpose to seize the opportunity once the island was attacked to take them
Right.
out and take Alexia out. So, but yeah, very just kind of a paranoid, haughty, egotistical, not super in touch with reality type of guy. So,
Right.
yeah.
And I guess we can talk about the next character who is both him and not him.
Yeah, Alexia. Do you want to tackle Alexia?
Sure.
I'll let you do
So
this one because there's a lot
thank you.
to unpack.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm so grateful. So Alexia is Alfred's twin, and she graduated from university at the age of 10. And we come across at least one, if not more, memos that talk about how much smarter Alexia is than Alfred,
Yes, yeah.
which is has led to some of Alfred's tendencies and
Psychosis.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
always being in the shadow of his sister. And that's something that is noted by his father, right? That Alfred is fairly mediocre, but Alexia is the genius. She does have genius level IQ, and she is positioned as the, I guess, descendant, the Ashford descendant that will restore honor to this family whose luster has tarnished over time. Um, to that end, and let me know, I might mess this up, but she is the test subject for the T. Veronica virus, which the Ashfords were developing. Do I have
So
that right?
she's yeah, she's kind of like a double experiment because she was the point of the experiment to begin with. So Alexia's and Alfred's father, Alexander. I wish we had more about him because he seems like an
Right.
interesting character.
Yeah.
Because he kind of knows that he's like not great at his job of
Yeah.
being like an evil supervillain. And he's losing control of Umbrella. So his idea is like, well, my grandmother, Veronica, she like founded this dynasty,
Yes.
like
Yes.
brought us up, even though it was I think it was his Alexander's father that founded Umbrella with Spencer, right?
Correct.
Getting that
Yeah.
right?
Let me double check here. Because
Yeah.
I'm trying to find
There's
where
a
there's that note.
and there's a tree, a family tree, I should clarify, that kind of shows it. And it's a very funny family tree because there's not that much to it, you know? Like
Yeah.
there's no mom for Alex and
Right.
Alfred. It just goes right from Alexander. Um, but yeah, he's kind of an interesting character because he kind of knows he's a fuck up, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna make it up to everybody by making evil twin test tube babies."
Yes.
Um, and really, Alexia is supposed to be the one, and Alfred just like happens to be a twin there, so he's not really wanted as much.
Right. And
Yeah, and
for
then
clar
yeah. Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say for clarification, Alexia is essentially a clone of Veronica.
Yes, yeah, and Alfred kind of is too, but he
Yes.
just has XY instead of XX, so.
Yes.
Yep, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Stanley, I guess, is the Alexander's dad. So
Okay.
Stanley Ashford was a founder of Umbrella.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right. With Spencer. Yeah, you said
yeah, I
that.
thought as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I have a
Oh, that'll get
mental
more complicated to go into. Because
yeah,
they're
I
like,
have
well,
I have
actually,
a
there's this other lady, and then this thing, and then that thing, and
I have a
I'm sure
mental
Graham
block.
will further complicate things. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I have a mental block with with Spencer. I always forget Spencer, and I think of James Marcus, and I
Oh
think
yeah.
of yeah, Marcus Birkin, like that whole
They're
thing.
really the people who have like the style names where it's two first names,
Right,
like
right,
Spencer Oswald and James Marcus, and yeah,
right,
that makes it confusing. But yeah, Alexia, she's yeah, born to be a genius that's gonna reestablish it, and then her plan to do this is to make herself into a horrible monster in Resident Evil tradition. So when she's 12 years old, she graduates at university from at the age of 10, which is pretty ridiculous. Like imagine you're 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 hungover, showing up to algebra, and there's like an 8-year-old there in the front row. You're like, what's going on?
yeah,
Um, but yeah, she puts herself into stasis in 1983 for 15 years to like have this virus that she made fully work its way through her system so she can be
right,
like a god creature.
right. And she
So,
ages during that time, so she's in stasis, but she's aging. So then she is ultimately, by the
yeah.
time she leaves stasis, the same age as Alfred. So, what
Yeah,
a
so I guess she's also
27-year-old.
27. Yeah.
Yeah. But just to rewind, right? Because this
Well,
is
there's a second part of well, Alfred has two personalities, one of which is so there's a real Alexia, and then there's Alfred's split personality of Alexia.
right. And
Yeah.
this is, to me, I read this as the game going to great and problematic lengths to show how fucked up Alfred is, right?
Yes.
Because we meet who we think is Alexia, who has Alexia's voice and is dressing like Alexia, very femme in a dress, long blonde hair, um, in a
And at least for Claire and Steve, passable.
yeah, yeah, they don't
Yeah.
really
They
detect
don't
anything,
yeah, they're not like, oh, that's Alfred. That's
right?
Alfred in a wig and a dress. They're just like, oh yeah, it's so yeah.
Right. And so I think we can talk about that scene later in our
Yeah, when we get to
gameplay.
it. Because it's very I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
Um,
over the top and it's just very
yeah.
like I think we kind of alluded to this actually when we were talking about Irons in Resident Evil 2, the police chief, but to me this is just like such a flop of a character and just like poor
Yeah.
judgment in the writing.
Yeah, I think it's way too much. It feels like they wanted to keep throwing stuff at the wall and be like, what's the craziest thing we could think of? And that's like, what if he dressed up and pretended to be his own sister?
Right.
And also is like he's, attracted to his sister romantically and sexually
Right.
also. So
Yeah, which
there's
is
that.
heavily implied and
Yeah.
so yeah, I think between the incestuous vibes and the kind of framing of gender dysphoria as a sign of evil, it's really missing the mark.
Yeah. And I think the technical term is like dissociative identity disorder, like what we used to call split personality. So I guess that's kind of what they're saying that Alfred has. So I don't know. We don't need to unpack if he has gender dysphoria
Oh,
uh
that's
versus
fair. Yeah.
versus just DID, but it's just I don't know.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
not handled super well. It's just
no.
kind of like
No.
if you weren't convinced he was crazy, he also dresses up like a lady, and that makes him even
Right.
crazier, is the
And
vibe that we're getting.
and I
So
believe Claire even calls him, quote, a cross-dressing
a
freak.
cross-dressing freak, yeah.
Yeah, so that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she really
Um,
puts puts the emphasis on the cross-dresser part, you know.
yeah.
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 And even Steve has a line where he's like after they realize like they find the wigs and the dresses and everything on the ground, and that's when he gets like really freaked out.
Right.
He's like, "Oh my God, they're the same. Let's get out of here." And it's like
Right.
everything else was yeah, fine.
Right. This person trying to kill you
Yeah,
for,
but
hours. Yeah.
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 But that Steve saw Alexi and was like, all right.
Yeah.
And then later find out that that was actually Alfred. He was
Right.
like, that's too much for Steve. He's got to get out of here.
Yeah.
He's too confused.
Yeah. This
Uh,
has the kind of like this feels very 2000s teenage boy stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Well,
Crying game.
our last character is a little bit of a
More fun.
more
Let's have some
fun. I was going to say it's a huge come down.
fun. Well, I mean, more straightforward, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
like Rodrigo. I think he's a good character.
Okay.
Rodrigo Juan Raval is our last character, and really the only other character in the game, at least that has, like
Yeah.
lines and
Yeah.
is alive. But yeah, he's an Umbrella agent, so he captures Claire in the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, which is fine, I guess. And
But I
then
don't understand it because they don't build that character up at all. You know, Claire is doing Matrix style shootouts and killing people, and then this guy's just like, "You're coming with me," right? He captures her and takes her to Rockford Island. But I'm like, what's his deal?
yeah, yeah, there's a little the Dave S. Pumpkins. Like, are we supposed to know who that is? Like, yeah, like is he like who's that?
Yeah, do
Yeah,
I know this guy?
yeah. Is he like a local celebrity? But yeah, Rodrigo. So he's actually from Rockford Island, which was in one of those, kind of side story Resident Evil novels,
Yeah.
comic book type of things. So he's born in Rockford Island. Umbrella took it over. He said, if you can't beat him, you join him. Join up with Umbrella, and then was sent to Paris to be like a soldier security guard. And that's where he captured
Yes.
Claire. And then
Yes.
he decided to. I guess the Umbrella rules are if you capture somebody, you have to like escort them to jail. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like
Kind
they
of
would have a
weird.
different person do
Yeah, it
that.
seems like somebody else would do that, but he
They're like,
doesn't.
yeah, they're like, you have to go to this place that's very far away now in a different hemisphere.
Yeah. In the book, he's a POV character in the book.
Oh,
This is the worst book of the four that I've read.
mm,
I don't blame the author for it. I think she was kind of like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this story?
sure.
Is the vibe I get, and she's doing her best. But the book, they explain that he wants to bring Claire to Alfred because he again was born in Rockford, so he knows that Alfred's like the boss, and then that's his way to get like a promotion. He's like, oh, if I
Oh,
bring
hmm,
Claire to Alfred and be like, look who I caught, he'll like give me a bonus or something. That's kind of like his thought process, which I guess makes
I
more sense
guess.
than just like, oh, he just happens to be there with her. But I don't know. Again, old SD Perry, old Stephanie, she's trying, she's doing her
Yeah,
best.
yeah.
So
What is she supposed to do?
yeah. Um, but yeah, then he shows up at Rockford and I think gets attacked, and we'll get into it in the opening here, but he basically rescues Claire. So the game wouldn't happen if it wasn't for Rodrigo.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, Claire would just die in her cell if it wasn't for Rodrigo.
That's
So
true. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. But then I think no matter how you play it, he gets eaten by the gulp worm.
Well, no, because if you don't bring him the medicine, then he just dies.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
right.
that's more of a gameplay thing that we'll get into, but
Okay.
yeah, there's a few kind of branching paths in this game. Nothing that's like super important, but he's one of them where Claire wants to repay him because again, Claire's like very I don't know if innocent's the right word, but she's very
Pure.
like a strong moral compass.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that about Claire too, where it's like it's not even a question that she saves Rodrigo. She's like, well,
Hmm.
of course I have to save Rodrigo. Like he saved me, so I'm gonna save him. She like
Right.
doesn't like a moral debate about it. Whereas like if this was Jill, I feel like she would save Rodrigo, but it'd be kind of like a oh, all right, fine type of thing. You know what I mean? Do you agree with that or disagree with that?
That's my reaction.
That's your reaction.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember the scene in No Country for Old Men where what's his name? James Brolin?
Josh Brolin. James
Josh
is
Brolin.
this dad.
Where Josh Brolin like he like is laying in bed feeling guilty and then he's like, oh fuck, and he goes and brings the guy the water.
Yeah. Yep.
Like I feel like that would be Jill. Jill would be like she'd find the hemosac mass and be like, yeah, fuck, I should probably go back and bring
Sure.
this to him. Whereas Claire is like actively looking for hemosac mass and to save him
Right. Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I like that about Claire. She's,
Yeah.
yeah. But doesn't do a lot of good because you'd probably rather just die in your sleep than being eaten by a gulp worm. But
Yeah. It's
yeah.
neither are good, and I think Rodrigo knows the game is up because he's not really trying to escape.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he kind of like sends her away. He doesn't like, oh, take me with you, by the way. Like, can I come?
Yeah.
Yeah, so but yeah, and that's in the wiki too. It's not in the book, but in the wiki they talk about how he like the reason we find where it was is that's like the cemetery or something for the like the native population, the colonist population.
Uh-huh.
So he's basically like gonna go like, oh, I'm gonna go die in like my father,
Oh, okay.
like my
Okay.
mother and father's grave, die with my family type of thing. Is why it's down the cave when that
Oh,
happens.
that's
So
interesting. Okay.
yeah,
That's
so
that's
yeah,
some useful kind of context.
yeah,
Yeah. But that
but
is our cast of characters, which I think is the smallest.
yeah, the smallest and really yeah, no one. All repeat characters and the characters. There's no new introduced characters that come back later on, besides like the very side story games, like the first person shooter games. So.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say the Dark Side
Dark Side
Chronicles and Umbrella
Chronicles, yeah. Which Dark Side
Chronicles.
is just I think Dark Side is the one that's retelling of Code Veronica, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah. But I
Yeah.
do think Rodrigo has the best voice acting in the game. I thought his voice actor did a nice job.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
great.
Cool. Yeah. So this game's opening sequence is bonkers.
Yeah. I don't I don't love it. I don't know
No.
where that line is, but like there's that line where it's like, okay, we're getting too ridiculous. It's going from like cheesy to corny,
Yeah. Yeah.
There's like the good sort of action movie cheesiness, and now it's into like corny action movie territory.
Right. It's just, I
Yeah.
think there's a difference between the kind of opening sequence in the original Resident Evil, which feels very horror-y
Yeah.
and like silly voice acting, but like there is a point of view. Um, and then in two and three, really kind of highlighting the game and zombies and right, it's action packed, but it's not, it doesn't feel like it's almost like a parody.
Yeah. And this feels like a parody of like a parody of an action movie. Like a parody
Yeah.
of like Matrix or a uh Equilibrium. One of those. Yeah. Like
Nice deep cut.
2000s action
Yeah,
movies.
yeah.
So
The Christian Bale film Equilibrium.
yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean, because this is, like we said, this is dropping you right into Claire's mission to find Chris. So she infiltrates an umbrella facility in Paris. She's
Yes.
outrunning a helicopter. She takes out dozens of armed guards by herself by shooting an explosive canister.
Yeah. And they're the classic goon style guards where they can't shoot. Like she's running down the hallway and they're shooting at her and bullets just like flying all around her and bouncing up the walls. And it's like, well, how hard is it to shoot somebody that's running?
Right.
It's fine. Yeah.
And we talked about this, I think, before recording, but this feels to me like there are two major cinematic influences. One, this reminds me of Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2.
Oh, yeah, I
Um,
can see that.
in that scene where I think she's outrunning a helicopter, right?
Hmm.
And then it also reminds me of the scene in The Matrix with Neo showing up with the helicopter with the Gatling gun and just like, right, bullets just like,
Yeah, all over the place.
right. And this
And
is
like,
it.
again, it shouldn't be that hard to like I don't know. Like she should have been killed here.
Yeah, Claire
If
is
there's
not.
if there's one competent umbrella guard, she should have been killed. But
Yeah, Claire is not in the
I guess there is one that
Matrix.
he captures her. But yeah.
Yeah, so this is just I think this is just a bridge too far, really. I think it's not that the series needs to be grounded in realism, but I just think it's just over the top in a not
Yeah, I agree.
appealing way.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then especially when she like what she do? She like falls down some stairs or jumps down some stairs, and then there's like 30 or 40 goons, like faceless goons, like all point their gun at her, and she like it's like, oh, there's an explosive barrel behind them. There's a barrel with a picture of a fire on it, and I'm gonna shoot it, and it's gonna explode. It's like, yeah, all right, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Even the scene when she gets captured, right? She draws her gun and Rodrigo draws his gun and they point it at each other, right? And they kind of pause. That
Yeah.
feels very like Hong Kong action, like Infernal Affairs, if you ever saw that.
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, so I don't know. Didn't love the opening, and then yeah, and then. we that's the very opening, and then we have another kind of opening scene when we're on Rockford Island, the prison. Claire's in her cell, and someone comes in, and then when you the player gets to take over, it says something about like, oh, I could if I had a light, I could see or something like that.
Hmm.
And then that's in this game you can equip the lighter.
Yes.
So it's not just an item that you use. You can equip it and carry around with you and have a light. So you put your lighter on, you see it's Rodrigo, and there's like a kind of a sting, like a jump scare sting, musical sting on it. Because apparently you're afraid of Rodrigo for some reason. I don't really. I mean, I guess he captured you, but it's kind of
Yeah,
like,
it's not
yeah,
clear why. Yeah. Um,
yeah. I feel like it doesn't have the punch they meant to have. Because again, I've seen him one other time, 10
right.
minutes ago. Yeah, but
And remind me, when does the island get attacked? The island gets attacked when you're in the prison, right?
well, yeah, we're in prison when the alien gets attacked because
Yeah.
Rodrigo's like injured. Like
Right.
that's why it comes. He's like kind of like his dying act where he feels guilty about capturing Claire, so he goes let her go to give her a fighting chance.
Right.
And that's when so you put in your lighter, he lets you out. You get out, you look around the room, you find some handgun bullets, you find a knife, and you he passes out, and it's like, oh, he's getting medicine.
Right.
And that kind of gets you some of your motivation is you're
Right.
looking for medicine. So
I
yeah.
don't remember. Do you take his gun? Because you have a gun in the beginning.
No, you get the gun later on when you take out the dead body when Steve starts shooting at you. Do you remember
Right.
that?
No,
Yeah.
I don't.
But yeah, you don't take his gun.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You do get a knife, so you have a weapon. Yeah, you
Okay.
just find a knife in the room. But yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So but yeah. So that's the opening and then so yeah, we went over the development and the characters and the opening and yeah, we might be good place to reconvene and get into the gameplay next episode or
Yeah, I think
yeah.
so. I think it's a good place to push pause and hit the gameplay running next week when we start out in the prison and iconic locales such as the Palace and
Yeah.
MTF. What does MTF
Yeah.
stand for?
The military training facility.
Oh,
So
right.
hopefully we got you excited to go through this game for us with us by talking about how much it sucks and how the characters are bad. No, I had fun playing this game. So please, yeah, if you enjoy this one, stick around. We're gonna have fun because it's a bonkers fucking story.
Would you
I
say
don't think it
pl
holds together, but it's fucking crazy. So I think it'll be entertaining to go through it and talk about it.
you said it does hold together or it doesn't?
It doesn't hold together, but I think it'll be fun to
I
talk
see.
about. Yeah,
You said please, but would you say please, please, please? Like
I'd
Sabrina
say.
Carpenter?
Oh, I was gonna say please, 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 like the Beatles.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that's a
boy.
different yeah, different
Mm,
generation. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You like Sabrina Carpenter?
My 1960s vibe and your I don't know anything. I know who she is. I've seen her. This is
Yeah.
like the same as our Ariana Grande Dua Lipa conversation where I'm like, if you show me a picture and said, who is this? I might be like, it might be Sabrina Carpenter, but that would be all I know about her. I
But
know she's
you
horny. She's like a horny lady. Is that her thing?
that is her thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, "Do you have a personality other than sex?" And she said, "Yes, and it is good."
All right. Yeah. I remember people
Um,
were making fun of her because she basically did like the Spinal Tap album cover, you know?
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah,
Yeah.
where she's Smell the Glove, where
Yeah. Yeah. I
but
don't really care. I don't like Sabrina Carpenter.
got people talking, I
Um,
guess. So.
I guess, yeah. She's just like she dated Barry Keoghan. It's weird.
Oh, did she really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
You know.
objection. I guess. I
You're
don't
like
know.
you're like
Good for her.
you're like I actually have a parasocial relationship with Barry Keoghan and I was telling him not to.
Oh yeah. I like Barry is that how you say his name? I was just like Keegan.
I always thought it was, but then I heard it pronounced.
It's
I'm pretty sure it's
Keoghan?
Keoghan. Keoghan.
Keoghan.
Yeah, I mean,
He's an Irish fella?
oh
Is that
yeah, oh
Okay.
yeah,
I guess
I
I've seen him in movies with an Irish accent, but I didn't know if he was just like acting or because I always
yeah,
see movies without an Irish accent. So
yeah. I like Barry Keoghan. He came up and then,
is he from Ireland?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then I just said, well, there goes that dream. And then Nikki
That's
was
such a
like,
great line.
it is.
Yeah.
Nikki was like, the most famous actor from, So yeah,
Yeah. Maybe one of the most.
I guess.
That's
Who?
a that's a good trick. If you throw one of the, then it could be anything.
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can say he's one of them. Yeah. Maybe what's Pierce Brosnan? I think he's Welsh.
He's Welsh. Yeah.
uh,
Ooh, who are we gonna imitate? What white guy are we gonna imitate this time?
well, you did. What's his name? Barry Keoghan.
Kyogen. I feel like I've
Keoghan.
just said his. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That's a big jump though. RFK, Clint Eastwood, Joe Pesci, and then.
Danny Lewis is Irish.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's like kind of niche though, you know.
Yeah, maybe fucking Colin Farrell's most famous Irish actor.
Yeah. I guess Pierce Brosnan is Irish.
Yeah, I just Google Irish actors and Pierce Brosnan. I thought he was Welsh for
I
some
did
reason.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. But I guess it depends what you ask. We'll have to do a survey.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
we don't know anyone's ethnicity in this game. We don't know Steve Burnside. Maybe he's Irish.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, because we
Yeah.
know Leon Kennedy is Italian.
We established that?
Yeah, remember? That was the thing.
That
Because
makes
we were
us.
confused by it, because his name is Kennedy, which is
That's
like
right.
Celtic
We were
at
like,
all.
oh, he's probably Irish.
Yeah, probably Irish, but
Right.
no.
Well, we know Rodrigo's ethnicity, Spanish,
He's Spanish, yeah.
and
Well, he's Rockfortian.
right, yeah.
Yeah, he's a
The
native.
the Ashfords,
The Ashfords are British,
right,
bafflingly British.
right. I did maybe next time I'll mention, or maybe I'll do it now. The Ashfords are the Kardashians of the Resident Evil universe.
I want to hear more about that, but yeah, let's save it for next
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Because then you were like, I think you said,
Oh, we
and
did talk
then
about that, yeah.
and then
Because
Alexander acquitted OJ.
yeah. Well, he represented him.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess, yeah.
Maybe he was on the jury. I don't know. He was the guy that's the Black Power sign. Yeah. So anyway, lots
Cool.
of fun stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'll
This is good.
reconvene.
We do though. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, that was another episode of Hot Zombie Summer. So we'll be back in 2 weeks to continue our discussion about Code Veronica. And until then, just stay away from Antarctica. Even
Pretty.
if it's an island near Antarctica, just don't. There's not a lot going on down there.
Yeah. As hard as
Yeah.
it might be, try not to go there.
Yeah, I know it's tempting, but just
Yeah.
gotta stay away. So, although if you're gonna know, because it's like we mentioned, it's December, so it's summer in the southern hemisphere. Still looks not great in Rockford.
No.
It's kind of rainy and looks cold, and
No.
Port Claire is just in like a vest and a t-shirt.
Yeah. Wouldn't she be
Yeah.
cold the whole time? She'd be freezing.
Yeah, well, that's crazy when they get to Antarctica. Like no one shivers. They're just like there's like in a blizzard.
Right.
And Steve's like, "There's an Australian base 10 miles away. Let's just walk." I was like, "Okay."
That's like, at least like in universe, it's like such a 17-year-old thing to say. He's like, yeah, we can
Yeah.
just walk there. And
Yeah,
it's
we'll
like,
just walk.
can't do
In-
that.
In a whiteout blizzard. How
Yeah.
far can it be? 7 miles. So yeah, but
Yeah.
maybe he's on the track too.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. He's lanky, skinny.
Yeah. How tall is he supposed to be?
Yeah, I'll have to look at the because I got the gold Lugers, so I have him unlocked in battle mode, but I haven't taken
Oh,
his
yeah.
character. Because in battle mode it'll give you his height, his weight, and his blood type.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
resisted the urge to talk about his blood type, but it is 80. So just for reference.
Yeah.
Maybe. Same
Okay.
as Rebecca Chambers. So
Mm.
maybe him and Rebecca could have they'd be more age appropriate, 17 and 18. I guess Claire's only like 20, but still.
Yeah. But still, that's like, it's like she is of age. He is not of age.
Yeah, like Claire just barely passes like the half plus 7 test, whereas Rebecca would be fine. So, yeah,
This is like you're like doing the Bachelor for Steve.
Yeah, yeah, doing the yeah. He has a single machine gun that he gives to whoever he wants to marry or whatever. Is that the I don't know what the show. Something like
Um,
that. Do you give the flower to the lady you like or the lady you don't like? How's that work? I've never seen the show. I just know there's a
boy,
flower to give
yeah,
to.
I think you give it to the one you like. That makes
Okay,
sense, right?
it would make sense, but don't you like get rid of people as you go?
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
you don't get a rose, right? And then you go home.
Okay, so
I
there's
don't know.
five. If I got Claire, Jill, uh, Rebecca, Ada there as my bachelorettes. No, yeah. I have three roses. I give them to Claire, Ada, and Jill. And then Rebecca leaves, right? Is that how the Bachelor
Yeah.
works? Okay.
Yes. Are you saying for yourself, or this is what Steve would do?
That's what I would do if I was in the
Oh,
Bachelor with
okay.
the characters from Resident Evil.
Okay. Got
Yeah,
it.
Rebecca would be the first on the chopping block. Sorry, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Nothing personal. Just,
Yeah. Yeah. They
I'm not gonna
don't.
say no to Claire. I'm not gonna say no to Ada or Jill. So that's just between Rebecca and Claire. And Claire. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'd go
Yeah.
with Claire.
Yeah.
Be with me. So,
Yeah.
but
We should
uh,
definitely cold open.
join join us next time.
You're just like, if I had three roses, I
I had
would
three
give them
roses.
to da da da, and Rebecca could go home.
Yeah, Rebecca would be excused from the Bachelor. She's just there to use a zip line anyway. So yeah.
I wonder if anybody's ever made that. Rebecca Chambers on the zip line.
All right, that was another episode of Hot Zombie Summer, and we'll be back in a few weeks.
And in the meantime, check us out on Apple, Spotify, or wherever else you get your podcasts. And be sure to follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky at Hot Zombie Summer Pod, all one word.
So until next time, don't be a Jill sandwich.